Good. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. Welcome to this session of textual study of the Quran. Today we'll be starting off with verse 31 of Surah Yunus. So, as we have discussed this before, Surah Yunus is the first surah of the third chapter of the Quran. It was revealed in Mecca, and the time of this revelation seems to be near the end of the Meccan period, when the conclusive communication of the truth against the uh, tribe of the Quraysh had taken place or was taking place, and thence you see that there are strict and harsh words being spoken, because this is not the time when they were being talked with for the first time. So it's like something that was happening for quite a bit, and their objections and their questions had been answered, and now it was very apparent that they were denying because of arrogance. They were denying deliberately, and they knew the truth, but they just wanted to bypass it. So we begin with verse 31. It says, قُلْ مَنْ يَرْزُقُكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَمْ مَنْ يَمْلِكُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَمَنْ يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ وَمَنْ يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ فَسَيَقُولُونَ اللَّهُ فَقُلْ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. Ask them, who provides you with sustenance from the heavens and the earth, or in whose control are your faculties of sight and hearing? Who is it that brings forth the living from the dead, and the dead from the living? Who is governing the system of this universe? They shall definitely answer this by saying, God. Then say, do you not fear him? So, viewers, you can see that the attributes of the deities mentioned here were never ascribed to them by the Arabs. We know that they shall definitely answer this by saying God, which means that they knew that all these things that have been described, like who brings life and who brings death, and who is it that grants you the faculties of sight and hearing, and who is it who is governing the universe. So for all of them, they knew that it is God. And of course, they never said that all these tasks are being carried out by their deities, simply because they were not, and they knew very well. So they also knew that their deities are accomplishing none of these tasks. At the best, they are using them in order to procure the nearness of God. So, regarding the male and the female deities they worship, they did not believe that they were the creators of the heavens and the earth, or that of the air, or the other elements of nature like the wind, the sun, the moon, the stars. And they did not believe that these deities could give life or death. So, you see, this was something that they very well knew. Now, what happened is that they only believed that they were these deities who were angels. They regarded them to be daughters of God, and they said that they are his favorites. God hears their recommendations, and that they can accomplish what they want through him. They reckoned that if they pleased these deities, they would receive the favors of this world through the recommendation of these deities. They were of the view that if ever they were going to be resurrected in the hereafter and be held accountable, then these deities would be there to help them, to secure forgiveness from them, from God. And that is why they actually worship them. So when it is said that you ascribe all these tasks to God, the ending part of this verse is, أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ? Then do you not fear him? If you know that all these things are done by God, and all these tasks are responsibly done by him, accomplished by him, then how do you ascribe partners to him? Because if you accept all these things, why do they not fear that the wrath and majesty of God on imputing falsehood to him is not going to befall them? So it's like a cautioning and a prodding that the Quran is doing in these final stages. As we've just discussed, Surah Yunus is a surah in which, in a very conclusive way, the truth was being finalized, they were being communicated to them. They knew that they are not doing a sincere job in this regard. So the Quran is trying to, once again, for the last time, telling them that this is the last option that they have, this is the last chance that they have, and if they don't mend their ways, then it will be curtains for them. فَذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمُ الْحَقِّ فَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالُ أَفَأَنَّى تُصْرَفُونَ كَذَلِكَ حَقَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ فَسَقُوا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. In reality, most of them are following conjecture only, and conjecture cannot the slightest take the place of the truth. Surely God fully knows what they are doing. So clearly you can see that about these people, it is said that they don't have any basis. All that they are doing and all that they are indulging in is speculation. It's all speculative. It's all non-definite. Nothing that can then they can really rely on. And that is why it is said that if you do this, you keep on doing this, then فَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالِ, which means that after, then what is after truth except going astray? Which means that if they believe all these things, which we have just referred to, if they regard God to be the planner, the executioner, the governor of this whole universe, its logical consequence is that they should regard Him to be their sole Lord and sole being to be worshipped. And this only means that if this is the truth, then whatever they believe contrary to it can only be termed as a great deviation from the truth. And that is why the Quran uses this word zalal, which means it's like a terrible thing, it's like a deviation. And if they indulge in this deviation, then of course they should understand, as the next verse says, in this very way the word of your Lord has become true for these rebellious people, that they will not accept faith. And kazalika haqqat kalimatu rabbika. And therefore, just to give you this recap, and it is said that after this truth only this deviation is what's going to take place, then فَأَنَّا تُصْرَفُونَ, that is again, where do you turn away? It's like an expression of a little bit of anger, a little bit of surprise, that where do you turn away? It means that someone is just wondering about, not giving due importance to the truth. And concealed in it is the fact that intellect and logic take them to a different conclusion, but on the contrary, those in whose hands are they consigning their reins, they are absolutely baseless deities. They can do nothing. And then, of course, the Quran has very vehemently said, كَذَلِكَ حَقَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ فَسَقُوا. In this way, in this very way, the word of your Lord has become true for these. So that we can see that the word of your Lord have become true for these rebellious people, that they will not accept faith. And we can see that the address now turns to the Prophet. Kalimatu Rabbika, your Lord. That is something which is said. And the implication is that he should not be worried to see the contradictions in their beliefs and deeds, because they abound. The established practice of God is that He gives guidance to only those who are its sincere seekers and who use their faculties of mind and heart to achieve their goal. But those who disregard these faculties and consign their reins to their whims and desires, they are never guided by God. They are destined to go astray. In fact, He makes them wander deeper in their deviation from the truth. And the expression Kalimatu Rabbika actually refers to the established practice of God, and the word Kazalika refers to the attitude of the idolaters mentioned later, that they can do nothing. So these rebellious people will not accept faith, and this is like a punishment, that if they don't accept faith, then that is how that is going to happen. So they are wandering away, and God is allowing them to wander. قُلْ هَلْ مِنْ شُرَكَائِكُمْ مَنْ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ قُلِ اللَّهُ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ فَأَنَّى تُؤْفَكُونَ. Ask them, is there anyone among the partners you associate with God who creates the first time, then can also do this again? Say, it is God who creates the first time, then He will do it again. So where do you wander away? So now the thing is that if they acknowledge that only God created the first time, which they do, and only therefore it is logical to assume that only God can recreate. And when this is a fact, then why do they associate partners with Him regarding His reward and punishment? And the question was actually, as you can see, directed towards the idolaters, because they thought that there is no cause of worry for them if the day of judgment comes, because their intercessors will save them from the accountability of God. So that's not going to happen. قُلْ هَلْ مِنْ شُرَكَائِكُمْ مَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ قُلِ اللَّهُ يَهْدِي لِلْحَقِّ أَفَمَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ أَحَقُّ أَنْ يُتَّبَعَ أَمَّنْ لَا يَهْدِي إِلَّا أَنْ يُهْدَى فَمَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. Ask, is there anyone from your associates who guides towards the truth? Then speak up. Is he worthy of being followed who guides towards the truth, or those who cannot find the way unless they themselves are guided? When what then has come over you? What kind of a judgment do you make? Which means that now they have really messed up the truth in this matter, and they know that these deities, they are not going to guide them. They very well know that the guidance itself is something that comes from God, and this is something that they do acknowledge. So that is why the Quran, taking in account of the fact that they actually agree with this premise, it says that what then has come over you, which means that if this word is فَمَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ, that what has happened, what is the judgment that you are making? So the implication is to ask, how do they worship those who are useless to them, both in the herein and in the hereafter? So that is how things stand at the moment. Now, viewers, one great need of every person is that he needs the guidance of his creator in many aspects of life regarding right and wrong. So, can these idolaters claim that they receive such guidance from their deities? Do they see any guidance? Did they ever reveal a book? Was any revelation sent down to them? So you see, what is being said is that, do you receive guidance from your deities? Yes, you worship them, but have they ever sent a prophet, or have they ever revealed a book? So if this is not the case, then the lamp of guidance which God has lit up for the whole world, its only source is himself. So do they send any revelation to them for their guidance? Have these deities sent down any books, sent any messenger? All these things, of course, the answer to them is in the negative. So something is really amiss. And you see, this is what the Quran often does. It tries to point out the contradictions, the discrepancies, and at times the naivety of the adversaries, that they know that their deities are not guiding them in any way. And how come they worship them? They know the guidance is from God. So if that is why they understand properly, then surely they can understand what is going to happen. So, إِلَّا أَن يُهْدَى فَمَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ فَمَا يَتَّبِعُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ إِلَّا ظَنًّا إِنَّ الظَّنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ بِمَا يَفْعَلُونَ. In fact, they are denying what their knowledge could not grasp, and whose reality is not even evident to them as yet. Those before them had also denied similarly. Then observe the fate these unjust people met. Now you can see that the Quran is once again casting the blame on them, that they are denying what their knowledge could not grasp and whose reality is not yet evident to them, which is, of course, something that they are continuing to do. They are denying someone who can be assessed through signs, not by directly viewing him, but that is what they have indulged in. They think that unless they see someone by their naked eye, or they can feel the being that they are being asked to worship, how will they just believe that what they are being asked of is the truth? كَذَلِكَ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. So those before them also denied. Those before them also denied similarly. Then observe the fate met by these people. So remember, viewers, that the Quraysh and the tribe of the Prophet, when they were living, they had ample knowledge of the past. They knew the nations who were destroyed, the Ad, the Samud, the people of Lot, Shuaib, and then, of course, more recently after them, what happened to Abraham and what happened to the other side of the progeny of Abraham, which are the Israelites. So this was all in front of the Arabs. They knew this is a tradition that they could not have denied, and it is this reference that the Quran continues to invoke, that كَذَلِكَ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ, that it is, it's not the first time that these realities are being denied. People before them have done this in a very, very vehement way and have become casual about the approach towards the truth. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ لَا يُؤْمِنْ بِهِ وَرَبُّكَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُفْسِدِينَ. Rest assured, O Prophet, there are those among them who also who will believe in the Quran, and others too who will not. So there are those among them who will believe in the Quran and others too who will not. they are inclined to create disorder, and your Lord is fully aware of these people who spread disorder. So remember, one of the things that they have to understand is that as far as the Quran is concerned, it is something that is validated by its internal function, by the fact that it's a book that does not create, that does not, I mean, in any way you will find any discrepancy or evolution of thought in it. It's a book from the other side of the world, someone that is free of any contradictions, any sort of discrepancies. So that is why it is said that there will be some people who will believe in it. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ لَا يُؤْمِنُ بِهِ وَرَبُّكَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُفْسِدِينَ. There are those among them who will believe in the Quran and others who will not. They are inclined to create disorder, and your Lord is fully aware of these people who spread disorder. So, viewers, this is a kind of assurance to the Prophet also, that he does not need to go after people who have decided to disbelieve in the Quran. The Quran is a document from the creator of the heavens and the earth. It contains no discrepancies, and this is what actually distinguishes it from all human works. All human works which are authored by human beings, they have discrepancies, they have evolution of thought and ideas and contradictions as well. And even at times, there are blatant mistakes in data, in factual aspects as well. But it is the book of God which is free of all these blemishes. And in spite of this, that they realize what has been presented to them, the Prophet is being told that he does not need to fret. He does not need to worry, because people are all sorts, and God does not force down his guidance upon people. People are left to choose the path they would like for themselves. So it is being said that وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ لَا يُؤْمِنُ بِهِ. Among them there will be people who will believe in the Quran and others who will not. And God very well knows those who will not, and they are the ones who are mufsid, who create disorder. وَإِن كَذَّبُوكَ فَقُلْ لِي عَمَلِي وَلَكُمْ عَمَلُكُمْ أَنْتُمْ بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا أَعْمَلُ وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Rest assured, so if they reject you, say, for me are my deeds, and for you yours. You have no responsibility of my deeds, and I have no responsibility of your deeds. So remember, what the Quran has said here is something of a it's like a universal truth, that if God has given them the opportunity to find out the truth, then that is all. I mean, God has presented the truth. God has left no stone unturned in order for them to find out what the truth is. So the truth has become evident to them. It's like crystal clear to them. And the approach of God is that he does not force down guidance on people. If they are going to deny, it's up to them. And this denial, of course, is something that they will understand is something that's going to happen every now and then. It's going to happen to them. It's going to really take down them. And if people before them have been taken down by calamities, their fate is not going to be any different. And one of the beauties of the message of the Quran, as we have seen, is that the Prophet has been stopped at a certain instant, on a certain point of time, from going beyond asking them to accept, because there are people, there are individuals, they have demeanors, they have their own dispositions in which they should decide in this regard. So that is why the Prophet has said, tell them that you do what you'd like and I'll do what I like. So remember, this is not a sentence of tolerance as some people have interpreted it to mean. It is basically an expression of the fact that whatever you are doing, you better be very, very clear about the consequences. Keep on doing it. As a prophet of God, I'm not going to admonish you more than what I've already done. It is now up to you. And therefore, if you in this regard think that this is a life in which you have to choose for yourselves, then remember, this has a very limited time. Once that time expires, you will have nothing to say. And I am absolutely acquitted from you, whatever you have done. So here's what is to be understood here is that prophets of God, when they reach this stage in which their nation tries to come up to them in a way that they become stubborn, they become obdurate, They no longer are interested. They feel that, well, if this world has given them success, if they have wealth in this world, then they don't need to be dependent on anyone. And an argument that they often make is that if God has blessed them with wealth in this world, it only means that they are good people. So why he would not do the same in the next world? And this is what happens to people, many people who are success stories even today, viewers. Always remember that whatever we have, in whatever form we have, it's not because we have earned it most of the time. It's because God wants to check us. He wants to test us how we behave. So, whether we are passing through testing times and whether we are passing through good times, both are states, both are situations in which God wants to keep us in check. He wants to check us, check our mettle, test our mettle, whether the behavior we adopt is something which is closer to the truth. And remember, the behavior that we adopt, if it is patience in times of botheration and gratitude in times of comfort, then this is the essence of religion. So that is why we see that the essence of religion that we find so closely knit in the Quranic verses is based on these two statutes, patience and gratitude. Patience on what you cannot change, and gratitude on what you have been given. So these are like two pillars that give you the essence of religion. And then, of course, it is said, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَسْتَمِعُونَ إِلَيْكَ أَفَأَنْتَ تُسْمِعُ الصُّمَّ وَلَوْ كَانُوا لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Why are you after those who have become blind and deaf? There are those among them who also who intently listen to you. Then will you make the deaf listen even though they understand nothing? So, viewers, again, something which is to be noted in this regard, that there are other people which the Prophet is being told who listen intently to what he says. They want to come and discuss things with him. And on the other hand, the Prophet might be entrusted, as has been the case in some of the surahs that we have seen, that on certain occasions he was, he was doing what he wanted to in order to bring the Quraysh in order and to make them and to convince them to accept the truth. But we see that there were issues, and sometimes, and people would come to him, he would feel a little bit irritated at, well, then since he's now talking to these leadership of the Quraysh, so if he is interrupted in any way, then he might lose this opportunity. So on such occasions, the Almighty says that his real addressees are these people who want that guidance, who come after him to find out that guidance, not these leadership or this leadership who does not in any way has any inclination towards the truth. So the Prophet should just leave them to themselves. So that is why the words are afa anta tusmi' summa walau kanu la yaqilun. So there are those among them who will also intently listen to you, and then will you make the deaf listen even though they understand nothing? So there are other people who are just deaf. I mean, they have nothing at all. They have no inclination for the truth in any way. They do not want to listen to the truth in any way. And so therefore they are being told that it's like a complete mess of life that they have made. And the Prophet also must understand that there is a limit of trying to convince people. Once this is finished, once this time expires, he no longer is required to go after them. And what has happened is, of course, then stated in the next verse, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْكَ. So that is what is being said. And there are those among them also who look at you with full attention. Now, this is the other side. There are those among you who look at you with full attention. أَفَأَنْتَ تَهْدِي الْعُمْيَ وَلَوْ كَانُوا لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. Then, will you show the way to the blind even if they can see nothing? So you see, once again, they are being told that what they are doing is something for which they are going to be answerable themselves. And if they are people who look towards you, then of course you have to understand that in spite of this full attention that they have for you, they have other plans in their own minds. And will you show the way to the blind even if they can see nothing? So because these people have made up their minds, they no longer are interested in religion because of the fact that they think that they've been blessed with these comforts of life, which have made them think that, well, God is happy with them. So that is why it is said that, well, you cannot make the blind see, and you cannot teach to the deaf, because they have decided to close their eyes and they have decided not to hear. وَلَوْ كَانُوا يُبْصِرُونَ, even though they can see nothing. So that is وَلَوْ كَانُوا لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. So then will you show the way to the blind even if they can see nothing? Again, it's like a guidance given to the Prophet that now the time for them is over, and it is now the Prophet who should just withdraw from these people and concentrate more on the believers who have already entered into the ranks of religion. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ النَّاسَ شَيْئًا وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. In reality, God is not the slightest unjust to people. In fact, people are unjust to themselves. So viewers, this is a very, it's a statement given in context, and it's also a generic statement from the Quran that you can understand that God is not the slightest unjust to people. When He does not guide them in any way, it's not that He's being unjust to them. It is because of the punishment that they deserve, because they don't have any inclination towards the truth. So if they are not being guided, then it's not any injustice on the part of God. It's basically justice that He's meting out by denying them this guidance because they don't have the thirst for this guidance. So God does not thrust His guidance. He waits for people to show their thirst. And then, of course, وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. That is the thing which God has said on so many occasions, that it is the people themselves who are to blame. And they are the peoples who are being unjust by not accepting the calls of their own conscience, by not actually today. And as for now, if you have any questions, you might raise them.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Saleem. Assalamualaikum, everyone. So I have a question in the chat for you. It says, what does it mean by who brings forth the living from the dead and the dead from the living? Verse 31.
So you see, the dead from the living means when we were nothing, He brought us to life. And the living from the dead, of course, would be when we were dead and He brought us to life. So when we were dead, He brought us to life, and when we died, He again gave us death. So it's like a two-pronged thing. So we came out of nothing and we were given life. So that is like coming out of non-existence, coming out of death into life. And then He gave us life, and then that life was converted back into death. And once again, this process will be revived, and people will be raised to life once again on the day of judgment.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Saleem. So, if anybody has any questions regarding the passage right now, please raise your hands or put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will be moving to the idiomatic translation. Dr. Saleem, I'm still just waiting. I don't have any hands. So maybe we can continue with the translation and then come back to the passage in the
Okay.
end for questions. Thank you.
Right. So starting off with verse 31, Kul, say, man who yarzukukum, feeds you, min, from as-sama, the heavens. So ask them or tell them that who feeds you from the heavens, wa, and al-ard, and the earth. Amman, or who, yamliku sam'a, who can have power, sam'a, over your hearing, wal absar, and over your eyes. So who can have power over your hearing and your eyes, and who yukhrijul hayya. So yukhriju means brings forth, al hayya, life, min, from, al mayyit, dead. So who is it who brings forth life from death, which is when people are dead, they are recreated. And wa yukhrijul mayyita min al hayy, and who actually gives them life or makes them die, min al hayy, once they are living. So it's like going both ways. And wa, and man who yudabbiru, who governs, al amr, the matter. And of course, the idiomatic translation being that who is governing the affairs, who is governing the affairs. So these are like questions that are asked one after the other, and then the answer is also given by God Himself. He says that if you ask these questions to these idolaters, فَسَيَقُولُونَ fa, therefore سَيَقُولُونَ, they will soon say, Allah, God. The answer they'll give to all these questions is that God does all these things. Fa, therefore, Qul, tell them, Afala, do you not tattaqun, do you not fear God? So if you believe in all these things, if you say yes to all these questions, then do you not in any way fear God? Because if you believe in all these things and you still don't believe them, then of course God is going to be angry with you, and do you not fear His anger? Kazalikum, in this way, Allah, God, it is God, Rabbukum, your Lord, al-haq, who is the truth. So therefore, your Lord, who is your God, who is your Lord, is the truth, which means that He is the true person, He's the true Lord. Fa, therefore, ma, what, za, after. Maza would be what, this, ba'da, after. So it's like things being transposed. So what is after this? Al-haq, which means the truth, illa, except al-zalal, deviation. So what is after the truth except deviation? Fa, therefore, anna, where, tusrafun, they wander away. So therefore, where do they wander away? Kazalika, in this way, haqqat, becomes true. Kalimat, the words of God, the words, Rabbika, of your Lord. So in this way become true the words of your Lord, ala, upon allazina, those who fasaku, became disobedient, annahum, that they, la, don't, yu'minun, become believers. So in this way, the words of God become true over these people who have shown disobedience, that they will not accept faith. Kul, say, hal, is man, hal min, from, shurakaikum, from your deities, man, who, yabdao, begins, al khalq, creation. So ask them that, is there anyone from their deities who begin creation? Summa, then, yu'iduhu, and also does it again. Kul, say, Allah. Allahu yabda'ul khalq. Allah, God, yabda'u, begins, al khalq, creation. So it is God who begins the creation. Summa, then, yu'iduhu, He will do it again. Fa anna, fa, therefore, anna, where, tu'fakun, they go away. So when this is a fact that God gives creation and He is going to do it again for the second time, so where do they just go away? Which means that why don't they understand? Kul, say, hal, is, min shurakaikum, from amongst your partners or from amongst your associates, man yahdi, who guides, ilal haq, towards the truth. Kul, say, Allah, God, yahdi, guides, lil haq, towards the truth. So who guides to the truth amongst your deities? Tell them it is God who guides them towards righteousness or towards the truth. Afamay yahdi ilal haq, afamay, so therefore, yahdi, who guides, ila, towards, al haq, the truth, ahakku, more worthy, an, that, yuttaba, he followed. Is he more worthy of being followed? Amman, or that person, la, who, not, yahdi, guides, illa, except, an yuhda, that it is guided by himself or by its, and they need guidance for themselves. So what is being said is that, is the person worthy of being guided or worthy of being followed? Yuttaba means to be followed. Who guides towards the truth, or those who cannot be guided unless they are guided themselves. Fa, therefore, malakum, what has come up to, what has gotten into them? Kaifa, how, tahkumun, they make a judgment. So how do they make a judgment? Wama yattabi'u aktharuhum illa dhann. Wama yattabi'u, wama, wa means wa. Wama yattabi'u aktharuhum illa zanna. Wama means he is does not follow aktharuhum, most of them, illa, except zanna. So most of them do not follow except conjecture, which means that they only follow conjecture. Inna, indeed, al-dhann, conjecture, la yughni min al-haq, is not in any way sound, min al-haq, from the truth in any way. So conjecture in any way cannot the slightest, yughni, substitute from the truth. So that conjecture cannot be a substitute of the truth, shay'a, in any way. Inna, indeed, Allah, God, alimun, surely knows, bima, what, yaf'alun, they are doing. So indeed, God surely knows what they are doing. وَمَا كَانَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ وَمَا كَانَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ أَنْ يُفْتَرَى مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. Wa, and, ma, not, kana is this Quran, this Quran, and this Quran is not an yuftara, that has been concocted, min dunillahi, without God. So this Quran is not something that has been concocted uh, other than God, or which means that without the authorship of God. Wa, and lakin, but tasdeeq, it actually testifies allazi, to that, bayna yadayhi, which is in front of them. Wa, and it is the tafsir al kitab, it is what the details of the book are. La rayba fihi, there is no doubt in it. Mir rabbil alameen, that it is from the Lord of the universe. So there is no doubt in it that it is from the Lord of the worlds. Am yaqulun aftarah, am, is it yaqulun, they say, iftarahu, that he has concocted it? Qul, tell them, fa'tu, bring, bisuratim min mislihi, bring a surah like it, bring a surah like it. Wad'u man istata'tum min dunillah, wad'u, and they should call out, man istata'tum, whatever they can, min dunillah, except God, in kuntum, if you are sadiqeen, if you are truthful. So what is being said here is that they should just bring one surah like the Quran, and they should call out man istata'tum. In fact, it is you should call out whatever they want to, or whatever capacity that they have, if you are truthful, min dunillahi, except God. So what is being said is that if you are truthful, you can just bring a single surah like the Quran, and then call to help whoever you can. وَدْعُوا مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, whatever is in your capacity, call to help. Min dunillah, except God. So God is not going to come to your rescue. You call other people. In kuntum sadiqeen, if you are true in your claim, if you are true in this matter. Bal, in fact, kazzabu, they denied. Bima lam yuhitu bi'ilmi. Bima lam, what did not come. Yuhitu, embracing bi'ilmihi, in their knowledge. So they denied what their knowledge could not embrace. What their knowledge could not embrace, they denied. وَلَمَّا يَأْتِيهِمْ تَأْوِيلُهُ, وَلَمَّا يَأْتِيهِمْ تَأْوِيلُهُ, and lamma means as yet, يَأْتِيهِمْ, has come to them, تَأْوِيلُهُ, its explanation, and whose explanation has not yet come to them. كَذَلِكَ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ, كَذَلِكَ, in this way, kazzaba, denied, allazina min qablihim, those who were before them. Fanzur, so look, kaifa, how, kana, was, aqiba, the fate, al-zalimeen, of the wrongdoers. So look at what happened to the fate of the wrongdoers. And viewers, while doing this translation, I have just realized that we skipped verses 37 and 38 whilst explaining, and that is, it seems that the slides were actually flipped twice. So just to give you a small introduction to what we have just seen in verses 37 and 38 before I finish off, that it is basically presenting us the fact that the Quran is not something which they, as what they have said, that has been authored by the Prophet himself. And the thing is that the Quran is testifying the book, which is the Torah, which means that it is in confirmation of the book that has been revealed already before them. And so therefore they have to understand that the Quran is again something that is in confirmation of the predictions that are found with it, and la rayba fihi min rabbil alameen, that it is basically, no doubt, this is the book from God itself, and it is not something which the Prophet has concocted. And if they think that it is something that he has concocted, then they are thrown this challenge that bring a surah like it. If you think that the Quran has been authored by God himself, they should just bring a surah like it. But the fact is that they just denied what they could not understand, and therefore they are not the first people to do that. There were people before them as well. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِهِ, wa, and minhum, among them, man who yu'minu bihi, believed bihi, in it. So there will be those who will believe in it, which means they will believe in the Quran. Wa, and minhum, among them, man who, la, not yu'minu, believe bihi, in it. Wa, and rabbuka, your Lord, a'lamu, knows best, bil mufsideen, the those who spread disorder, and your Lord knows best who spread disorder. Wa, and in kazzabuka, in, if kazzabuka, you deny, and if you deny, faqul, tell them. In kazzabuka would mean that, of course, They are people, if they reject you. So kazabuka basically would mean that if they deny you, so literally it would mean they deny you or they reject you. Fakul, so tell them, li, for me, amali, my deeds. For me are my deeds, wa, and lakum, for you, amalukum, your deeds. For me are my deeds, and for you are your deeds. Antum barium mimma amalu. Antum, you are bariun,